anything like that that you think is quite poignant?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we spoke earlier about my series, The Owners, which I'm currently on volume 9 on. I've only published up to 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm actually going to be withdrawing them and republishing them, so that they all have the same sort of look, and I'll be doing box sets and all sorts now. But the reason I wanted to mention it was, apart from the fact that I'm currently writing it, it's very now.
Yeah.
It's about these creatures called eons and humans, and the eons, which are big sort of feathered creatures, keep humans as pets. But the point of it is that it is about differences and coming to terms with differences between societies and between people. And, you know, it has a lot of current issues in it, funnily enough, even though it's set in the far future. And it only occurred to me, really, writing volume 8 just the other day and finishing that. And I thought how much it is in the now, really, because coronavirus has been going on for a while. Prior to that, we were starting to change as a society about how we looked at people and how we looked at things, and issues that we were looking at and issues that we felt were important. And so much information has come out just in the last year about things. I mean, there's been stuff about with the Black Lives Matter. There's been stuff that I didn't know about, that various statues of famous people had done, you know, these people had done this, that, next thing, and they weren't necessarily the people that we had, the great people that we had thought them to be. We're looking at different things. Oh, the Jeffrey Epstein stuff has come out. You know, there's lots of talk about different things, about equality and everything else. And I think, bizarrely, all of these are reflected in that book, just because this story was started for me 10 years ago when I first started to write it, or longer, in fact. And it's still true and it's still real now. So buy an owner's book.
Owner's
There's
book.
message, buy an owner's book.
It's funny you say that, you know, diversion. What worries me, because we're all, you know, a lot of people are the same now, and we're thinking, where is this all going to go? I think the problem is with trying to put a message across, and we spoke about veganism and all that, trying to put a message across can do almost the opposite. So if we push it and do it the wrong way, it can get people's backs up. And I think that's what we've got to be careful with racism and things like that. It's such a difficult thing to try and sort. I don't know the answer, but I do know one thing is that you've got to be careful that it doesn't, you do it the right way. Because if you do it the wrong way, it will entice racism. You know what I mean? Now, the answer to that, I do not know. But
well, if you had the answer to that, you'd be a world leader, wouldn't you? You know, and in fact, you'd be better than all the world leaders put together. Nobody has the answer, you know, because everybody feels differently about it, and everybody has their own personal take on it because of what's happened to them or what hasn't happened to them in their life. You know, the advantages they've had or the disadvantages. So I think we all have our own thing on it. Ideally, what you'd want to do is start off with a blank page and say, okay, well, let's start from where we're at now. The trouble is, I think that so much has happened in the past, and, you know, there are militant people on both sides of this equation. There's no two ways about it, which is really unfortunate. What you really want is somebody who's level-headed and to say, okay, we can only start from the here and now, because that's where we're at. You know, and while we have to take the past into account, because history informs our decisions for the future, there's not a hell of a lot you can do to change history. It is what happened. And that's a reality.
I think you need a voice. I think someone, you know, where we had Martin Luther King and people like that, that is what's missing. And instead you've got people that are not as intelligent or have the right words to say. And that's, you know, it's having that leader that is just, like you say, you know, profound.
You need a narrator, don't you? I mean, you know,